Three.
So, we're navigating this completely new landscape with publishing. It's, we have the traditional publishing where people are, it's just not the same relevancy anymore. Traditional publishing is amazing, but, we used to have to use traditional publishing because you'd have to pay $50,000, to print and house your own book at your house, and that was not even feasible. And then where would you sell it? There was no distribution outside of, the big publishing houses. And so today, big publishing houses are amazing, but here's just the black and white of it. Like, if you don't already have your own following, if you aren't walking in the door with a massive following, then there's not, from a business standpoint, a big publishing house cannot throw their resources behind you and promote you. So they might sign you as a published author, but you're looking at like maybe $1,500 as a first-time sign-on bonus. And then if you don't have your own crowd to market to, then your book isn't going to gain traction, and the publishing the publishing house doesn't throw their resources behind it, because your book isn't getting traction, and then it gets shelved, and then all of a sudden, your book isn't going anywhere, and you don't own your asset because you need to sign off a large portion of your asset so that the publishing house owns it. And so that's really a hard place. So now, today, we have our print on demand. We can self-publish, and then that's turned into the Wild West because, we've got people that can take a picture of their foot and then publish it online, write 4 words. The gentleman did do that, and he hit a bestsellers list with that work. And that's kind of, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means for sure is that it's made like published author. We have to really define what that means today. So why don't we use the best of both worlds? That's what Lighthouse does. We are a hybrid book publishing company, which is amazing. It's a completely new world for us, and for the publishing industry in general. So we're able to publish people with the quality and the standard of traditional publishing, industry standard, where you can hold your own inside of a bookstore, not just be sold online. You can actually stand proud as a true blue published author whose work is done right. And then you can also do it more affordably, and you own your asset, and then you can make a lot more money yourself from your published work. And then you can really get creative with what that book does for you. It can open a million doors, book more speaking gigs. I mean, the opportunities are endless. We'll go over it, but this is really what we're looking at in the landscape. Right now 3 to 4 million books are published worldwide, globally, a year. That's about 5 books a minute, about 5 books every minute, which is nuts. It feels really daunting. 87% of people have said in the Gallup post that they want to write a book. That was just in 2017, so not too long ago. Like 87% of Americans want to write a book. Less than 1% do. So if you feel like everyone's writing a book, they're not. If you feel like millions of people sounds like a lot, it is, but worldwide, there's a lot more people than that. So, there's a lot of books written, but there's a lot of people that want to write books that aren't writing them. And so, it's really pushing into that 1%. And then the average book that sells about 500 copies. Actually, it was 250 to 500 copies. So we picked the high end on that. And that's really rough because you think about how important it is to be able to write your book and get that work out, and then just 500 copies sell, and if you're splitting royalties, I mean, you're looking at maybe $1,000. So that's pretty crazy, and probably devastating for a lot of authors. In fact, I know it is. I've talked to authors that are devastated because they put everything into their book and it went out and did nothing, and they're very sad. So there is a way to bypass all of this craziness, but we have to be able to say this is what we're dealing with. And the other thing is, books that are published unprofessionally, like we were talking about, they sell even less, and then on top of that, they make the person's brand look bad. It makes the person's reputation look bad. It actually lowers their credibility with an unprofessionally you're better just not doing it if you're not going to do it correctly, because then that brings on a whole nother side of it's not doing well. And then books published correctly, done right. So you can self-publish correctly, and you can do it right, and it can do so well. It's amazing. I mean, I've had that experience myself. It's amazing. But the sweet spot is books that are published correctly and marketed correctly. If you brand yourself correctly, really the sky is the limit, and that's what we found. Because this is what happens when you want